What is up, everybody? I hope you guys who watched it enjoyed the live last night. It's been a while since we did it, but we did it, so enjoyed. Let's get some crap off the lens here. Always crap on my lens. Always crap on my lens. Alright, so what we got working on today is a 2008 Smart for 2 Passion. Now, we have basically a dead cylinder misfire. This one has the big 1 liter 3-cylinder in it, so you can imagine that a dead cylinder on a 3-cylinder is not going to allow for much power or movement of any kind. So what we need to do today is we're going to troubleshoot this coil on plug issue. This is a coil on plug car, which means that there's a coil for each and every cylinder, for each and every spark plug, and they're all bolted in. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but I'll try to get you in. Probably going to be a little upside downish, but the 3 coils are right there. There's 1, 2, and 3. Now, where this is going to differ a little bit is we're actually going to break out a tool on this one that we're going to need to use to verify which coil is bad, because the coil packs for this thing are $300 a piece. You can find them online for, you know, roughly $250, $260, somewhere around that area. And you can find really cheap ones on Rock Auto, but I wouldn't trust those. So these are expensive, expensive coil packs, and we want to verify which coil pack is bad, why it's bad, what caused it to go bad, and see if it's literally just a failure. It could just be a coil failure. I mean, this is an 08, so it is a 10-year-old car. So we're going to see. But what we're going to be using today to figure this out is this neat little device here called the Coil On Plug Interceptor. Now, basically what this is going to do is, with the use of this pickup, or this antenna, or whatever you'd like to call it, and this device right here, what we're going to be doing is setting this on top of each one of the coils and viewing the readout of what we get on that particular coil. Now, if we're lucky, we'll be able to see, and I'll be able to show you guys exactly what a dead coil looks like versus a good coil, because this will show us both. So I'm going to start this thing up, get this all set up, and I'll bring you guys back, and hopefully we'll be able to see which coil is bad. Alright guys, so we got it running. I got it set up so you can hopefully see the coil plug tester, or the coil tester itself. I'll zoom in a little bit on it. And now what we're going to do is we are going to take this guy right here, and we're going to put it on top of each one of the coils and see what our reading looks like. So here we go. Alright, we can see on that one, it looks like we've got an intermittent 11 kilovolt, 14 kilovolts. That one seems to be firing. This is the middle one, we're at 15 kilovolt. Alright, so we're getting some pretty erroneous stuff going on here, which means that we're going to have to test this a little bit further. We're not reading kilovolts, but we are reading spark plug burn time, which is the milliseconds reading you can see there. Now what you guys need to note is how all over the place these voltages are, as well as the burn time on the plug. We may have a problem with the center coil. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to pull some scan data on this to see which exact coil is malfunctioning. So let's see, we'll go smart. A lot of times these will only misfire under load, and I think that's what we're seeing now, is that we're not getting a dead cylinder misfire at idle, but we are getting one under load. It does have a check engine light, and the customer does state that the check engine light was blinking. Alright, so 303, cylinder 3 misfire. So what we're going to do now is we're going to see if there's actually any misfire monitors within this. And hopefully there is, because if we can do a misfire monitor... Cam position, mixture for idle speed. Alright. So we're going to have to look a little bit deeper into this and see if we have a misfire monitor. If not, we're going to have to go in and do some mode 6 data. Alright, so what we're going to do is, because there's no misfire monitor there, we're going to go into base OBD2 or EOBD. I'm going to let it figure out what its best protocol is. Alright, so now we're going to go into onboard monitoring test mode 6. And we're going to see if we can find, there we go, misfire cylinder 1, 2, and 3. We had a misfire on cylinder 3, so that's the cylinder we want to look at. And we might have an issue with this ECU, so let's start it. Alright, so hopefully we can see this. Let's see. Nope, it's going to be angry. See if we can get anything in mode 1. We do not see anything in mode 1 data. See if we can get some more mode 6 stuff. It does not like the mode 6. This is why it's important to have multiple scanners, because there are other scanners that may actually have the ability to read the misfires on this, however ours doesn't. So we're kind of shooting in the dark here. I can feel just like a little fish bite misfire right now. Alright, so let's go back into the actual smart and see if we can get any data in there. Maybe it's hiding somewhere. So unfortunately, a lot of times these weird cars don't have the same level of accessibility with these scanners as the other ones do. And right now we're just kind of going through the paces and trying to find where it might be sitting. Yeah, even the live data is not all that live. And like I said, we're getting a fish bite misfire right now, which is basically, if you were to look at a bobber that's bobbing up and down, and you're fishing, obviously, if the bobber's bobbing up and down, and you're getting a fish bite, you'll see the bobber just kind of pulsate every now and then, and that's what this is doing right now. Alright, so now we have a fault counter for cylinder 1, 2, and 3, which could quite possibly be the misfire counters for this particular cylinder. You guys can see that. So we're going to sit here and put this under some load and see if we can't get these counters to increase or decrease. See, these aren't decreasing or increasing or anything else, so I don't know if we may be able to reset some of this data so that we can get a better idea of what's going on. I know you guys can't see much, but this is a very, very small car. So we're just going to go through and we're going to read the DTCs. Combustion misfiring of cylinder 3 has been detected. Combustion misfiring detected. So it detected cylinder 3, but it's also given us a P0300, which is a complete random multiple misfire. Unfortunately, we don't have any freeze frame data. Yeah, there's not a whole lot we can do with this thing right now. Unfortunately, the only thing we can do at this point is clear everything out. Oof. Okay, we're not going to get into that crap. There's a lot of other codes in this thing. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're basically going to clear everything out of this. We're going to replace the coil on number 3. Number 3 was the one that was giving us the erroneous readings when we were hitting it with the coil tester. I'm going to test it one more time, make sure that coil 3 is the suspect. Then we'll put coil 3 in it, we'll go take it for a ride, and we'll see what we ended up with. Alright guys, so we are going to take this little hot rod for a rip. Now what I need from you all is watch these counters. That one, and that one. Cylinders 1, 2, and 3. And if they jump up in numbers from where they're at right now, scream. Let me know. See how fast we can make this little baby go. Now the main complaint was that this thing would do no more than 30 miles an hour. So we shall see. Ooh, brakes are squeaky. This might get a little herky-jerky here because these things shift weird. You guys see anything so far? I don't see anything, and we're currently doing 40. We got no blinking check engine light. So far, so good. You know, these things are funny. When you're driving them, it literally feels like you're in a big car, which is odd because I've talked about this before. I'm 6 foot, 260 pounds, and the interior of this car is actually comfortable. With one person, it's pretty comfortable. You get 2 people my size in here, and you got problems. Feels pretty good. Shifting through the gears just fine. I don't know if you guys can see it or feel it or hear it in the camera, but it basically shifts like a manual transmission when it in reality is an automatic. They're kind of neat little cars. How are those counters doing? You guys seeing those things go up or no? Once we get back to the main road, we'll give this thing the beans and see how she handles it. Whoa! You guys almost fell over there. Alright, so far she feels pretty good. A lot of times what you'll see with these Coil On Plug cars is that the coils will actually work fine at idle because they're able to produce enough spark energy to jump the gap when the vehicle's idling and there's very little air coming into the system and very little fuel. what'll happen is when you put the car under load and you increase the amount of fuel and air that you're putting into the cylinder, that coil pack can no longer keep up with the demand and the spark energy needed, and therefore you get a misfire under load. So you'll have a coil that appears to be fine at idle, but is misfiring under load, and that's where the data comes in very, very handy and very important. The data that we got from the scanner, although not very intuitive, gave us at least where to look, what coil to look at, what cylinder to look at, and ultimately we found cylinder number 3. We did a test with the Coil On Plug tester. Coil On Plug tester kind of verified that we had a little bit of an erroneous reading on cylinder 3. Cylinder 3 was the main misfiring cylinder. So right now what we're getting is we're getting perfect driving, we're getting perfect everything. There's no more fish bite misfire at idle, there's no more misfire under load. So I think we did exactly what we set out to do, which is a good thing because, like I said, these coils are, you know, my cost on them is $215. You add in the markup to that, it's a $300 coil. So these are not cheap, plus the labor to install it, which isn't very much, but you definitely just don't want to fire a parts cannon at something like this. You want to make sure that you diagnose every last little bit that you can with the equipment that you have. And now another way, in case you guys are unaware of how to diag this thing, is basically you can move the coil pack to another cylinder. And by moving the coil pack to another cylinder and driving the car, you can then get an idea. Like, let's just say we had a misfire on cylinder 3. We move that coil pack to cylinder 2. We end up with a misfire on cylinder 2. Then we know it's a coil pack. If the misfire stays with cylinder 3, then we can do some more troubleshooting to try to figure out where our issue is. Alright, so far so good. No check engine light, no blinking, no nothing. Let's run a quick code check on this to make sure. Excuse my arm. We'll make sure we don't have any codes in this. I didn't see those counters go up any. I don't think you guys did either. But let's see if we can figure out if we are good to go, but we still have more issues. Now, see, now we have 0 fault codes. We have no trouble codes, we have no misfires, we have no nothing. We just went on about a mile and a half trip. We did some full throttle stuff, we did some light throttle stuff. The idle is much smoother now, we don't feel that fish bite anymore. So I'm going to call this one fixed up. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. I really wish that I could have given you a little bit more of the Mode 6 data, because that stuff's pretty cool. If you work on vehicles, you'll know that a lot of vehicle manufacturers, some Chrysler, some Ford, and some of the German, European stuff, they don't give you readily available misfire counters. So like with a GM, you can pull up each cylinder individually, you can look at the misfires for each cylinder, and some vehicles just don't have that. However, with enhanced OBD in Mode 6, you can actually get, a lot of times will be where your misfire counters are located, and you can see misfire counters. And then some of them in the Mode 6 data, you'll get a misfire counter, but it'll be in hexadecimal and you'll have to convert it. But there are conversion calculators online, so you can find it. But it is super helpful in a situation like this where there are no available misfire counter data. There is nothing that we can see other than there's a misfire somewhere and we don't know what it is. And luckily we have the Coil On Plug tester. I got this from my Matco guy. Obviously you can see Matco tools. It was a couple $100. It actually works really, really well to try to find a coil that's malfunctioning, which in this case we saw that the number 3 coil had some erroneous readings. It would drop out voltage-wise and we wouldn't see voltage there, and then we would see weird millisecond burn times and a few other odds and ends. So that's kind of a dirty way, a quick and dirty way to get that done. Now the real way to do it is to use that same basic tool and use a scope, a lab scope or an oscilloscope. You can do it that way, or like I said, in the car. You can literally take the coil. If you don't have any tools whatsoever except a little advanced auto scanner, which I use quite often, you can find out, okay, hey, cylinder number 3 is the one that caused the misfire code. Let me take that coil out, put it in cylinder number 1, put cylinder number 1 in cylinder 3, and see if the misfire moves from 3 to 1. And if it does, then you know it's the coil. If it doesn't, then you know, all right, let's check the spark plug, see if the spark plug is bad. Let's check the compression on that cylinder, see if that cylinder is down. Let's do a leak down test on it, see if a valve isn't closing all the way. Troubleshooting is kind of a process, and with cars like that, weird cars like that, it helps to have some of the higher end tooling so that you can get a better idea, so you're not just winging parts at it. And in this case, I mean, this is literally nothing more than what you see in a Honda or a Toyota or whatever. It's a diamond part number, but is manufactured by Denso. It looks like a Honda coil, and it's a Honda coil is 35 bucks. This thing's 250. So you don't want to be throwing these at the car hoping that it's going to fix the problem when, you know, your customer shows up and you just sold him $700 worth of coils and the car's doing the exact same thing it did when it came in. So you have to be super careful with some of these cars, especially throwing parts at them like that. So, all right, guys, that was a quick impromptu one. I thought you guys would enjoy that. You know, a little bit of diag that's a little bit further than we're used to seeing on the channel. You'll probably be seeing more of that. This van that's behind me right here has some pretty massive electrical issues, so we're going to tackle that very, very soon. We may even start tackling it tonight. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We're almost at 10,000 subs, guys. Share the channel. If you don't subscribe to this channel and you're watching this video right now, please subscribe. If you're looking for car information, it's here. Troubleshooting, fabrication, all kinds of stuff. We do it. Hit the subscribe button. Get us to 10,000 subs. I appreciate every single one of you guys for sure. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.